So we impeach Trump twice. Must be so nice to impeach him twice. This circus of storming the Capitol and the idea that he is trying to master a coup turned out to be a chaos. It is really a circus, as our guest today will say. This done by some idiots to signify nothing, and that's all it's amount to. And so he is gonna be gone in few days, and maybe sooner. And I mean, it seems like the United States, due to restriction of traveling and extreme lockdown, they try to master a queue at home, not abroad. Because I talked to our guest today, Ed Felien. He's a publisher and editor of Southside Pride. This is. You hear me?
Hi, yes, Ahmed. Can you hear me?
Oh yes. How are you? Good, good seeing you. How I haven't seen you for a while.
No, I know it. How have you been?
You
You
look
look great.
different. You look tanned. Are you in Florida? Where are you?
Well, I'm afraid I'm in Hawaii. Hawaii, yes.
Y-
It's Maui on Maui. Little. Have you been there at all? It's
No,
lovely.
no, no. I just don't leave Minnesota. I'm afraid to live anywhere
Oh, you're so international. Come. I mean,
because it's a white privilege to go to Hawaii and
uh,
and so you do this actually every year.
yes, yes,
So this is a good arrangement. A good arrangement.
yes,
You are
yes. It
like.
works out nicely for us. Yes, yes.
So what's like they over there in the winter and aimed the pandemic? Are
Oh,
the guys crazy about it?
it, it's very nice. I mean, it's 60 degrees at night, 80 degrees in the day, 82, 83, something like that. It's very nice.
But as we talked before, I know you've been watching, or you have been watching what happened at the Capitol last Wednesday. It is a fiasco, really, and we want to see how from out there, you're not immersed here for what's going on a daily basis, 24 hours news. But as a media person, we're glad to have you here, Ed.
Thank
But
you. Thank you. Thank you. It's a pleasure and a privilege to be here with you. Thank you.
no, thank you so much. Pleasure of mine. You're good man. You try to fight the old fight, and you still sticking to your principle. That I know you for so many years. You have not changed, and you're not by any means a corporate media, but you have things to say and more insightful things to say than corporate media. So I don't invite so many people when I first talk to them or they email me. They quote Karl Marx, so I'm very glad to have you. But uh, talking about this so-called coup or the storming of the Capitol. You wrote something here that you quoted Karl Marx that history repeats itself first as a tragedy, then as a farce. And you went on to say this is not by any means a coup, it's just idiot signifies nothing.
Uh, I think that Donald Trump is very much an idiot, but also uh, he's he's uh, he's a convinced racist. His father was one of the heads of the Ku Klux Klan in Queens in New York City. He has a long history of being aligned with the Klan and with right wing neo-Nazi Ku Klux Klan people. And when he was told in 2016 when he ran for president that David Duke, the Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan, was endorsing him, Donald Trump said, "Oh, I know nothing about that. I know nothing. I know nothing about that." That was a very, very important and key thing for him to say because know nothings were an actual political party in the middle of the 19th century. They were the racist nativist part of the American electorate that ran a candidate for president in the American Party in like 1856 or something like that. And they merged with the Republican Party out of Ripon, Wisconsin, that was an anti-slavery party. Now, you wouldn't think that the American Party, the nativists, would merge with an anti-slavery party, but they hated the Democrats so much.
That bad, huh?
I mean, no, it's true. You know, the Democrats were aligned with the Irish and the Germans, the new immigrants, and the nativists hated the immigrants so much that they were willing to do anything to fight against the immigrants. And so, even a state like Kentucky, which was the slaveholders' central state. I mean, that was where the action block was, where you sent slaves down the river, literally down the Ohio River, where it joined with the Mississippi River, to work in the plantations in Alabama and Mississippi. In Louisville, Kentucky was the chief auction block for the forced migration of slaves, and that was Kentucky went with the North because they were so nativist. They hated the Democrats so much that they, honest to God, they went with them. But the important thing to understand is that nativist strain, that anti-immigrant strain, that very racist strain, has always been a part of the Republican Party, as well as those people in the Republican Party who said they were against slavery. You know, but the two parties, the two groups merged as in a marriage of convenience to defeat the Democrats, and Lincoln won because Lincoln was a very, very skillful negotiator and politician. I mean, he's not given any. He's glorified, sanctified, and everything, and rightly, he was very
rightly so,
very important. But nobody appreciates, really, I don't think, how clever the son of a gun was. I mean, he was extremely clever politically and merging these elements. And so that element has always been a part of the Republican Party. And now it has just, blossomed into a heavy kind of preponderance because this is a crisis for white males. White men, women are taking over, minorities are taking over. There's where's white male supremacy anymore? I mean, there's it's all fading, it's all going away. And this is kind of their last gasp. I mean, this has to be seen as the Alamo, for white males. They were, just pushed up against the wall. I mean, what else are we going to do? And it wasn't a coup, though. They had no real plans to take over the government. They had no real plans to do anything except stop the count. Stop the people.
But they have a smartphone and flags and Halloween costume. It looks like I thought it was like reality TV show, not like Animal House or something. I mean, it was comical.
Yes. And the line, John Belushi's line from Animal House. This is the time for a really stupid gesture, that's perfect to sum up what happened, But
why the media glorify this gangster?
The important thing. There's an excellent editorial today in the New York Times by Edsel about an analysis of the background of the coup. That's in Saturday's New York Times. It's really worth reading. But one of the lines he uses in there is that the Democratic Party, these people did not leave the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party left them. And the Democratic Party now is dominated by what you would call bourgeois liberals. They are liberals who are very much in favor of social progress, very much in favor of non-discrimination, very generous in their liberalism, but also very bourgeois, very concerned about corporate values and about corporate strength and corporate health. Obama gets elected president, he bails out the banks. He doesn't worry about bailing out the homeowners who lost their homes. Clinton gets elected, he eliminates welfare because he doesn't want people on welfare, dependent on welfare. I mean, there's this very anti-working class attitude among the bourgeois elite that essentially run the Democratic Party. And I mean, there's a struggle. I'm a member of the Democratic Party. I'm a member of the Bernie Sanders wing of the Democratic Party. There is a wing of the Democratic Party which is socialist, which believes that the working class deserves a break. They deserve some kind of power and strength. And that's a counterweight to the bourgeois liberals who believe that only progress can come. We're trickling down from the top, and we want it to bubble up from the bottom. Okay, there is the struggle, and I think it's a wonderfully pronounced struggle right now inside the Democratic Party between the Bernie Sanders wing and the Biden wing. But we're at peace right now. We're at peace with the Biden wing. I think we're in a tremendously positive position with Bernie Sanders as chair of the Budget Committee in the Senate, and I think that with Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and a number of other people in the House pushing for very progressive legislation, I think we're in a tremendously strong place. And I think with our Congresswoman in Minneapolis, Ilhan Omar, fantastic Congresswoman who had articles of impeachment for Trump right away, right in your face.
So, Porto, you talk about 74 million people who still voted for him after 4 years of, in these 4 years, he's done enough damage domestically. And what he was doing. Who are those 74 million people?
It's going to be a long process. It's a process of education, and it has to be done with love. We have
love. I don't want to love those guys, Ed.
We have to show these people that we love them, that we care for them. That as a matter of fact, Donald Trump and all of his lies about caring for them, it was all a lie, and it was a fraud. And he said he was going to do a tax cut that would hurt the corporations and help them. Well, it turned out it was just the opposite, of course. And he lied. He lied about everything. We have to prove that we're really willing to meet their needs and to deal with that. And that means, taxing the rich. It means social programs. It means allowing all of their kids to go to college. We cannot afford to leave our young people uneducated. We can't afford ignorance in this country.
Very expensive.
I mean, really.
It's more expensive than education. But you quoted Bob Dylan in your email, and I think he's alluded to what he was talking about, that race and racism are used to keep the poor whites separated from the poor black and slaves. And let me recite a little bit about it.
Better than them, you've been born with white skin, they explain. And the Negro's name is used, it is plain, for the politician's gain as he rises to fame. And the poor whites remain on the caboose of the train, but it ain't him to blame. He's only a pawn in their game.
Years ago, half a century ago, he wrote that.
Yes, it's amazing. You talked a little bit about why this is not a coup. You talked a little bit something I've never heard it written or said or explains about Eric Prince, the founder of Blackwater.
Yeah, yeah.
His role of all of this was kind of not talked about it a lot, but he could have done a lot damage and turned this to like Baghdad or something.
Yeah. No, Eric Prince. Donald Trump relied on Eric Prince a lot. Eric Prince wanted to do a completely private mercenary army to go into Iraq or into Afghanistan. He thought he could with a private army take over Afghanistan, and that's the dream of adventurers for 200 years. You know, the British.
Yeah.
That was the great adventure. That was to go into and control the opium trade. The opium trade is worth $5 billion a year, at least, now in out of Afghanistan. And Afghanistan produces, most of the opium in the world. And Eric Prince was just thirsty to get into that, to do a private mercenary army in there. But he was a big contributor to Donald Trump, big supporter. And his sister, Betsy DeVos, was the Secretary of Education. But and Eric Prince was assigned by Trump to organize a private militia, a private army of federalized troops that from border guards and some other to put down the riots in Portland, Oregon last summer. Remember the federal troops that came in and pushed the demonstrators away from the Capitol building in Portland, Oregon. Oh. That was organized by Eric Prince. The assassination of Scheibel, the young man who was Antifa, who shot and killed some Trump supporter who was trying to attack him, and then he was assassinated by troops. That assassination was carried out by Eric Prince, who organized a militia to go surround his house and shoot him. Then the events are not exactly clear, but it's very heavily involved in extra-military mercenary events. As you mentioned, he was the head of Blackwater. He was responsible for Blackwater when they massacred civilians in Baghdad, and which was a horrifying event that horrified the world.
And they were pardoned by Trump.
Yes,
4 of them.
The 4 of them that were involved in that, after a lengthy trial and unequivocally were guilty of massacre of innocent civilians and children. Trump pardoned these 4. And this is where you feel sorry for Donald Trump, because everything he does for these people, they don't appreciate it enough. He appoints people to the Supreme Court still won't hear his
exactly.
He appoints federal judges, and they still think, wait a minute, you're crazy. He still can't get them to do his exact bidding. It's a tin pot dictator who just. Nobody's listening to him anymore. I mean, it's pathetic, the poor bastard. But excuse me. But the Eric Prince, I'm sure, in exchange for getting that pardon of those 4 people, he expected Eric Prince to lead the coup. If Eric Prince would have organized a coup, he could have done it. If Eric Prince would have recruited like 500 to 1,000 military to surround Donald Trump, so that when the crowd marches into the Capitol building, all of a sudden Donald Trump could come in with his Praetorian guard, the guard that surrounded Caesar. He could march in with his Praetorian guard and say, "I'm going to reestablish law and order here. We're going to end this foolishness." And like Hitler dismissing the Reichstag, he could have said, "We'll have fair elections at some point in the future." That's what essentially they did in Colombia, or in Bolivia.
Most third world countries. That's what Sisi did in Egypt.
Yes, that's what they did in Egypt, of course, with Morsi. Yes.
Yeah.
But most recently, Trump was responsible for the coup in Bolivia, where he supported the military working with the police. You have to understand, the police, for the most part, are dominated by white racists. The FBI in 2006 put out a pamphlet saying, that the white supremacists are taking over police departments nationwide, and Chicago has been horrible with that, and so is Minneapolis.
Yeah.
Bob Kroll, the head of the Police Federation, was an out and out racist. Was prosecuted by four black members of the police department for discrimination against him, and found guilty of being responsible for not promoting blacks when he should have. And one of the black police officers was, of course, Arredondo, and Arredondo is now chief. But Arredondo made his peace with Bob Kroll. Didn't really want to rock the boat with him. Arredondo's kind of much too easygoing, much too liberal with these people, and doesn't treat them as the danger that they really are. But Bob Kroll has a motorcycle club that made up of.
That's not a good sign.
Yeah, made up of cops, of cops from the metropolitan area, and they fly Confederate flags. They wear Nazi war medals. I mean, these are the people that are supposed to protect and serve the people of Minneapolis. Well, that's why we have white officers killing young black men, in Minneapolis. Anyway, Eric Prince could have organized that thing, but I think Eric Prince said, "Nah, this isn't going anywhere. I don't want to be a part of that." No. And then he convinces his sister Betsy, to drop out of the Trump thing, because this is a sinking ship.
We want to end this. You have Tony Boza coming. He's going to have a Zoom conference, talk about policing and what have you. What's going on there?
Oh, that'll be a lot of fun. If you know Tony Boza,
Yes, I do.
He's outrageous. I mean,
I had him on the show maybe once.
Yeah. Well,
and my rating never recovered after this.
He's terrible. I mean,
he's a typical New Yorker. I just love the guy, and I cannot believe he actually can handle an official office in those systems.
No, he's a beautiful, beautiful guy. He's a former police chief of Minneapolis for 10 years. He was chief of police. And while he was chief of police, the cops there were no incidents like that, because he ruled the cops with an iron hand. And he was, he ran the department very efficiently. In fact, he turned back money to the yes, and they hated him for it. You're supposed to spend that money. You're not supposed to give it back.
More guns.
Yeah, he saved the city of Minneapolis money every year. And one of the things he did, one of the innovations, was he had cops in single car patrols. I mean, you don't need two cops to go out and look at it. Actions can be done with a clerk with an iPad. You just go out and take some notes on something that's happened. But so Tony was made some very important innovations in the department. He'll talk about that, and he'll talk about what he was doing, and what's happening with the department now. And I think that it's an important perspective that we need. Also, he writes for Southside Pride every month. He does a column. We don't let anybody write for Southside Pride unless they're over 80 years old.
I noticed that. You don't accept my article, Ed. I don't age. Well, thank you so much for clearing up this for me.
Yeah. Holly Mann writes for us, every month. Every month, Holly Mann writes for us. She's 101 years old, the founder of Women Against Military Madness. She's 101 years old. She writes for us.
Well, Ed, that's thank you so much for giving us this time and sharing with this insightful take and analysis of the coup that is really wasn't a coup, and how really corporate media subscribe to this fallacy of revolution and changes and all of that. And as I always say, the chicken came back to roast, and everybody went home. And the end of the day, we have Biden is our next president, and he doesn't believe in domestic cause. He believes in international cause. So we're in a good hand. Thank you, Ed. As the publisher and editor of Southside Pride, is a community newspaper. It's free. It's out there online. Check it out. And when are you coming back home?
In a couple months. We're fine for a while. We'll let it warm up and let the COVID go away. And then
Yeah, exactly. Well, thank you so much. Enjoy your stay, and stay home and stay healthy.
Thank you, Ahmed.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.